Imagine a high-performance engine running on a low-grade fuel source. It chugs, it stalls, and eventually it breaks down. Most men today are running their biological engines on the equivalent of emotional and physical sludge, wondering why their intuition feels like a flickering candle in a windstorm. We live in a world designed to keep us in a state of constant leakage, not just physical, but energetic and attentional. Every time we succumb to the immediate pull of a screen or a fleeting impulse, we are essentially poking a hole in our own gas tank. When we talk about the concept of conservation, specifically the retention of our most vital biological fluids, we aren't just talking about a lifestyle choice or a religious taboo. We are talking about the fundamental physics of the human battery. To understand how retention sharpens intuition, we first have to look at the body as a closed-circuit system of electricity. Every thought you have, every move you make, and every gut feeling you experience is powered by a literal electrical charge moving through your nervous system. Now consider the biological cost of reproduction. It is the most energy-intensive process the human body is capable of. It is the creation of life itself. When a man is constantly draining that reservoir, he is effectively diverting the high-voltage current away from his brain's higher faculties and toward the most basic primal functions. Over time, this leads to a state of cognitive dimming. You start to move through the world in a fog. You miss the subtle cues in a business meeting. You fail to sense the shifting mood of a partner. You lose the ability to see the hidden patterns that lead to success.
Intuition is not magic. It is high-speed pattern recognition. It is the brain's ability to process thousands of environmental data points, micro-expressions, vocal tonalities, historical trends, and atmospheric shifts, and condense them into a single feeling before the slow, clunky conscious mind can even form a sentence. But this high-speed processing requires immense amounts of neural energy. When you are in a state of retention, your basal voltage rises. Your brain begins to fire with a level of intensity it hasn't felt since childhood. This is why men on long streaks of conservation often report that the world seems to glow or that they can see through people's intentions. They aren't gaining psychic powers. They are simply restoring the power supply to their prefrontal cortex and their limbic system. They are finally seeing the world in high definition because they finally have enough power to run the software.
Think about the boiling frog syndrome. Most men have been slowly cooked by a culture of instant gratification. They don't realize how dull their senses have become because the decline was gradual. They've grown used to the brain fog, the social anxiety, and the lack of direction. They think this is just what getting older feels like. But when you stop the leak, you begin to experience a process of neuroalchemical vitalism. Within the first few weeks, the background noise of the mind begins to quiet. The constant buzzing static of lust and distraction starts to fade, and in its place, a silence emerges. It is in this silence that intuition speaks. You start to get pings, sudden clear directions to call a certain person, to invest in a certain idea, or to walk away from a toxic situation. These aren't random thoughts. They are the signals that were always there, but were previously drowned out by the roar of your own internal chaos.
The universe is a mirror of your internal alignment. If you are internally fragmented, chasing every temporary high and draining your life force, the world around you will reflect that fragmentation. You will encounter bad luck, hostile people, and missed opportunities. But when you become a unified, conserved vessel, the external world begins to rearrange itself to match your new frequency. This is what many call manifestation, but it is actually a shift in perception. Because your intuition is now sharp, you are subconsciously making the thousands of tiny correct decisions that lead to lucky outcomes. You are standing in the right place at the right time because your internal GPS is finally calibrated. You are avoiding the enemies and the dangers because you can sense the smell of a bad situation long before it manifests. We must also address the concept of the creative fire. Throughout history, the most prolific inventors, artists, and leaders practiced what is known as sexual sublimation. They understood that the energy used for physical creation is the exact same energy used for mental creation. By holding that fire within, they allowed it to bake their ideas into reality. When you retain, you are sitting on a volcano of potential energy. This energy has to go somewhere. If you don't give it a constructive outlet, like your work, your art, or your physical training, it will turn into stress or agitation. This is the pressure that forces you to grow. It is the discomfort that makes you move out of the job you hate and the room that is too small for your spirit. Retention makes you dissatisfied with mediocrity. It turns the soft man into a man of iron, not through external force, but through an internal buildup of pressure that demands a better life.
Consider the biological seed as a literal blueprint of your potential. When you hold this blueprint within your body, your cells begin to read it differently. There's a reabsorption process where the minerals and neurochemicals intended for a new life are instead used to upgrade your existing life. Your hair grows thicker, your voice deepens, and your eyes clear up. But the most profound change is in the inner diamond, that unshakable core of self-sovereignty. You no longer look to the world for validation because you are a self-contained power plant. You become a willing co-worker with nature, as the ancients said. You move in flow with the seasons of your own life. You know when to push and when to wait. This rhythmic intelligence is the ultimate reward of the path. It is the ability to navigate the ocean of life without a map because you have become the compass. The modern world is a giant heat sink designed to pull energy out of you. It wants your clicks, your attention, and your vital force. It offers you forbidden fruit in the form of digital pixels and cheap thrills, but the price of that fruit is your future. Every time you choose to retain, you are saying no to the machine and yes to your own divinity. You are stepping out of the cave and into the sunlight. It is a difficult path, especially in the beginning when the withdrawal from the constant dopamine spikes feels like a physical weight. But once you crest that hill, you reach a plateau of clarity that most men will never know exists. You begin to see that life is not happening to you, but through you. Your intuition becomes a guardian angel, whispering warnings and pointing toward the path of highest resistance, because the path of highest resistance is usually where the greatest rewards are hidden.
As the days turn into months and the months into years, the transformation becomes permanent. You are no longer trying to retain. You have simply become a man who does not leak. You have built a fortress of the mind. In this state, your creative power is limitless. You can visualize a goal with such intensity that it feels real. And because it feels real to your overclocked brain, your intuition will find the most efficient path to make it a physical reality. This is the secret of the geniuses and the sages. They weren't born different. They simply managed their energy differently. They understood that the universe within reflects the universe without, and they chose to keep their internal universe pure, powerful, and pressurized. Good luck on this journey. It is the most important work you will ever do. Stop the leak. quiet the mind and listen to the silence. The answers you have been looking for are already inside you, waiting for enough power to be heard. Become the master of your own current and watch as the world bends to the strength of your new perception. The fire is within you. Don't let it go out.